Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to How Cheap Can I Live? Today's topic is the topic of living in two places. Because this is the first year that we've ever spent a winter any place other than in our house in Wyoming. And we decided we would come down, see if we liked living in Arizona for the winter time. You know, I love the snow. Now, I do not miss the ice. And yesterday back home, they had the interstate closed. They had all the roads that go north and south closed because it was a sheet of ice. They didn't get very much snow like the rest of Wyoming did in this last storm, but yesterday it was a sheet of ice. I don't miss that. But I think when you go to look at living in two different places, there are some really big misconceptions. We were at the flea market swap meet. It's a thing that they have on the weekends here. And people rent spaces and you can buy from them. Sometimes it's more like garage sale stuff and other times it's brand new stuff. And for the most part, it's good prices. So we were wandering around one of the swap meets because there's two different ones in Yuma here. And we were way in the back and it was just piled with crap. Seriously piled with crap, but you never know what you'll find. So I like going into those kind of booths. And the two gentlemen over to the side were having this conversation and I was right by them so I could hear them. And the one guy says to the other guy, well, it doesn't really matter. All those people that come down here for the winter are rich. That is a misconception. Because Joe and I are a perfect example of that. We are just regular middle-class people. But you can have two homes if you're careful. Now, when we bought our house in Wyoming, gosh, 16 years ago, I think it is now, I'm going to insert a picture of what it looked like then and what it looks like now. Because if you don't mind doing fixer-uppers, changing things, adding things through the years, so it doesn't cost you so much money up front, you can do it. Then I'm going to insert a picture of our little place here. Because it's just a little modular mobile home. It was built in 1972. Now we have the option that we could go buy something brand new, but we don't want to. So we are going to do exactly what we did up in Wyoming, and we are going to rip out carpets and we're going to rip out the walls and put new sheetrock and new insulation and new wiring so that, one, it's less money. Two, it's great projects to keep us busy. And three, it's a way for us to be able to have two homes. The idea of having two mortgages, Joe and I couldn't do it. You know, constant two mortgages would be really tough for us because we live on Social Security and my income from YouTube and me selling my crafts. So some people think that for you to have two homes, you know, to go down south after you're retired so that you don't have to shovel all that snow, have the cold winds, minus 40 degrees below zero, you have to be rich. But it is a total misconception. You do have to make choices. And I think that if we become more self-reliant, it's a thing that you can do. Now, do we have our stuff from when Joe worked with like a 401k? We do. Do we touch it? No. Because at some point in our lives, I won't be able to do YouTube. I may not be able to do my crafts that I do now. Things can change. Things can change in a moment. What if I was by myself all of a sudden? How would I pay two mortgages? You know, I just couldn't do it. So as when you look at how cheap can I live, it's all about choices and misconceptions. We chose in Wyoming to buy a smaller house. Could have we bought a bigger house? Everything ready. We didn't have to do anything. We didn't have to rip out carpets. We didn't have to paint. We didn't have to redo floors, bathrooms, showers. We could have done that. But in exchange for that, we would have had a hefty mortgage. In Wyoming, houses are not cheap. In fact, it was sticker shock when we got to Gillette. It was like, you want this much for this house? Oh, but that's just what happens in certain areas of the country. So we chose to have a smaller house. We chose to be willing to do the whole basement because it wasn't done at all. It just had some studs. We chose to rip out the old carpets, lay flooring down ourselves, not having somebody do it for us. We chose to do all that plumbing in the kitchens, the bathrooms. Those were choices we made because we wanted to be able, when we went to retire, that we would still have a full life, that we didn't have to be stressed out all the time. So now, this year, we choose to have a second home. Our little trailer that we have, we own. You know, we don't have a payment. We own it. Choices. Could we buy a $100,000 single wide, move it in, or a double wide? That's even more. Choices. We choose not to. I love projects. I love changing things that look like this into something else. I find it satisfying. I find it that it could be great videos, things that people could learn from us. Now, before Joe retired, we had decided that we needed to buy a brand new truck. Now, a brand new truck is a lot of money, choices. But the idea was, once we retired, because we always keep our vehicles, you know, our other car is, one's a 2007, the other little truck is a 2000. We keep them a long time. We don't have payments on those. We chose to do a lease on that truck first. I searched and searched everywhere, and this is not a commercial for Dodge Ram, but we love our Dodge Ram. And they had incredible rebates at the time that we leased our truck. So we leased it for 3 years. We took the lowest amount of miles possible. So our payment was like $300 and some dollars. We had the other two vehicles, so we knew that we could keep it at 10,000 or less miles per year. Then we began to save, and we saved, and we saved, and we saved. And when that lease was up, we paid the difference. So we don't have a payment on a truck. We have, in fact, our truck will be 4 years old, and it has 35,000 miles on it. Even with all of our driving on our trip and coming down here and all of that, choices. Because there are misconceptions that you can't have a full life when you're retired. That you can't have two homes when you retire. But you can. There's a little house in our village that's for sale right now. And the trailer is a little bit older than this. It has a nice lot, $33,000. So if somebody wanted a second home, they're over 55, because this is a 55 or older village, it's an option. Almost every park down in Arizona, you know, villages in Arizona, you can rent a place for 2 months. See if you like it, because you may not like living in two places. But you can turn a small house, a house that doesn't have a lot to offer, into something spectacular. And that's what we've decided to do. We did it in Wyoming, and now we are going to do it in Arizona. So that no matter where we are, we have a nice house We have my gardens. We have vegetable gardens so that we produce our own food, which cuts way down on our food bill. But remember, if you will want 2 houses, don't just block it out and say, no, I just can't even afford that. Look at the possibilities first. Look at what you can do, what things you need and don't need, what things are important to you, and what things are not really that important. In the scheme of things, they're not that important. You can have the fullest, richest life when you're retired. What can you do right now to get rid of those bills? Do you have 1 car payment, 2 car payments, 3 car payments? Do you need 3 cars? Can you get away with just 1 or just 2? Can you pay off some of them? Can you pay them all off? Because if you come down and you're living in 2 different places, the less bills you have, the more comfortable you can live. You can go places, you can go eat out, you can go to museums, you can go to shows, you can do things if you prepare for that beforehand. If you don't think that, oh, if I'm going to live south, I have to have a house and I have to have a swimming pool and I have to have this and that and that. But it's your second home. Does it have to be as big as your first one? Does it have to? Do you have to keep up with the Jones? No. Why? They don't care about you. What makes you and your spouse happy? Or if you're single, what will make you happy? What will be worth living in 2 places? Because there are expenses. You get down here and it's like, oh, I need this and I need this. And at first, especially this first year, there were things to buy, things in your kitchen to buy, things in your different rooms to buy. And we were lucky enough that there was furniture here so that we didn't have to come up with that money. Do I like this furniture here? No. It's old people's furniture. My girls are always teasing me. But as we start to change the rooms, then we'll invest in a new couch and chair, a new table and chairs, new refrigerator and stove as we remodel. Now, some people will say, well, it's a 1972 trailer. If you go to resell it, it's a 1972 trailer. Well, that's true. If we stay here 10 or 20 years and we bought a brand new one, I'm still selling a mobile home or a modular that's 10 or 20 years old. And the idea that you have to be rich is a total misconception, because you can do it on your social securities, on some things that you've prepared for. Maybe you're on YouTube, maybe you sell crafts, maybe you have a side business. There are options, there are possibilities. So don't limit yourself. And I think when you open your eyes and you walk outside that box and go, okay, this is what I thought I was going to just have the rest of my life. But on that outside of that box, what are the possibilities? And I think you will be surprised. Options. Start looking, start dreaming, start planning, start getting rid of all those extra bills so that you can have a full, rich life. And if you choose to have 2 homes, you have that option. I hope you like How Cheap Can I Live? I hope this helped to give you some ideas of how it's possible. And you do not have to be rich to live in 2 places during the year. I will see you next time.